at Just Dig It Farms. I am at CogHill Farms. And this is my sweet friend Brooke. I am so thankful that we've been able to get together and be friends and have a friendship.
And Jason and I are so thankful that we have a friend like you that can come to us and tell us what we need to do in our gardens and everything that involves
I've been enjoying
planting.
it. I've been enjoying helping y'all with the gardens.
Well, I hope you have, because I feel like from time to time we knock on your door and
it's all good.
and you're like, oh no, not them again.
Never. I love the whole design process anyway. So I am totally enjoying helping y'all to create beautiful spaces out here.
Well, we thank you.
It's already such a beautiful farm anyway.
Well, thank you.
It's really changed so much since the first time I come out here and look at y'all.
We actually have a roof over our head and we're moved in. But I was going to say that you can tell the love of gardening just when you speak of it.
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody loves something and you can tell it, then you just know it. And I think that you are living your dream, doing what you want to do, and teaching people how to garden.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell you,
you
don't realize how talented you are.
Well,
you should toot your own horn every now and then because you are very talented. And
thank you. Thank you very much.
I tell everybody that is interested in gardening to go see your channel, Just Dig It Farms, because we're just not the gardener that you are, and we learn from you every time we see you.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
thank you so much. You're very sweet.
I'm not just saying that either.
But this show is not about me.
Oh, it's not.
This show is about you today. I want to know all about Brooke. And so do all of our viewers, I'm sure. CogHill Farms basically started off with Jason, right? Like the channel.
Oh, the channel
YouTube
part.
channel part.
Definitely. When the channel started, it was more of a how-to channel.
Yeah.
And Jason has always loved editing, which is something that I don't have any talent in. I have no involvement in editing anything, nor have I ever videoed anything, much less edited. So his love for editing, I think, just kind of fell in his lap with how-to videos.
Awesome. Yeah.
On the weekends, he worked a full-time job, and on the weekends, he always had a project.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't?
Exactly.
What woman doesn't have a
weekend warriors?
A lineup that they need done around the farm or around the house.
That's right.
And ours just so happened to be a farm, so never work is completed on a farm.
Never.
So he would come up with little projects that needed to be done, make sure he had the tools and things ahead of time, and just strapped a camera to himself and went on.
Yeah.
Went on about his job that he would normally be doing without a camera. And found that he enjoyed videoing and teaching and editing those videos.
Right.
So he started publishing them.
Yeah.
And upon publishing them, he found that people liked watching him. Watching the content and learning from him.
Yeah.
Well.
And he's pretty entertaining too.
People think so. Well, that while he was doing that, if Mary Carl is our only child, she's 12 years old.
Yeah.
If Mary Carl and I walked by and we could hear him talking out loud, it meant he was videoing.
Yeah.
And she and I always turned and went the other way.
Yeah.
Because it was not something that she was interested in, nor was I.
Yeah, you didn't want to be on the camera.
And it just was something I didn't feel comfortable doing.
Right.
As people started to become interested in what he was doing, he spread out a little bit. And he was already gardening. So instead of how-to, it became a what we were doing or what he was doing. I still say he because I wasn't in the picture.
You weren't involved at that point.
He loved gardening, like he loved editing, like he loved, filming. He loved gardening. And so he started videoing gardening. and people started seeing the passion that he had.
Yeah.
We just had a few chickens and goats, and we had some farm animals, but gardening was on his top.
Right.
So that's kind of how he got started, and it's just carried out from there.
Yeah.
From that point on, we are CogHill Farms.
And then, so how did you get involved and start to be showing up on the videos?
We didn't have a family sit down and say, hey, you know, I think we should do this as a family. There was none of that. It was just, I think it probably became so frequent that it just became our family being involved because we were always together versus us going the other way when it was something we would all be doing anyway. And I kind of feel like that's how it happened, because anything that happens at CogHill Farm is usually done as a family. And while we only have one child, she's involved in most everything that we do, and it just became what we did. So projects that we did as a family. No more. It was kind of no more how to. It was kind of like what we were doing. Yeah.
And so you really didn't have a choice. Like it was the camera was there and you were on it.
It was either I put a paper bag over my head and people wonder who that person was, or I become involved.
Well, we're glad you did.
Well, I thank you. I thank you. But not to say I was comfortable. I wasn't comfortable.
It takes a little while. So tell us about Brooke. Like, where'd you go to school? How'd you meet Jason? Tell us a little back history about Brooke.
Brooke is 46 years old. I had to think about that for a minute.
46?
46 years old.
Don't look a day over 20.
Oh, you're so sweet. I grew up in Selma, Alabama. And I was an only child. So
how about that? And Mary Carl's an
only child. It wasn't planned that way, but
grew
up in Selma in Dallas County, and that's where I lived with my parents until my dad passed away at age 49 of kidney cancer.
And how old were you when he passed away?
I was 24, and I was married in June of 2000. He passed away in August of 2000.
Wow.
He'd been sick for a long time, so I almost feel like once he walked me down that aisle, then it was time to give up and say, you know,
he was hanging on to do that.
Wow. Because we were on our honeymoon and things just weren't the same with the way he was speaking and things like that. So so that made me moving out of my house with my parents for 24 years, being married, living with my husband for the first time, and my mom became a widow all within a few months.
That's a lot.
And I was the only child.
So
I went, while he tried to have most everything prepared, you're never prepared.
I bet.
You're never prepared. Your affairs are in order, but you're not prepared.
Right.
So I became what I felt was a caretaker for my mother, who was a caretaker for me all of these years. And my husband. And I just couldn't handle it. Literally couldn't handle it. I was working at the time. I was working at we sold guns. And it was Walter Craig was the name of it. So we sold guns.
Jean's favorite store.
Oh, I bet. We were a wholesale distributor of guns. So I wore a little headset, and people called us to order what they needed for their store, their sporting goods store, and we called on our customers. I loved what I did because I talked all day long, so you can imagine. I like that. So I had been working there for about 3 years, and then my dad passed away, and I got married, and about 8 months after that happened, I started feeling a feeling I'd never felt in my life. That phone would ring at work, and I would just hit pause or stop. I couldn't I couldn't handle it. I didn't know what was going on, but there was a difference in me that I'd never felt before.
Wow.
I had enjoyed going out to eat with Jason, with my parents, like going places, doing things. Alabama football games immediately came to a standstill. I couldn't be around a crowd of people. I didn't want to go anywhere. All I wanted to do was just be at home.
Wow.
So I realized there was a problem, and I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So finally got the guts enough up to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't live like this. I was 24 years old, and I would be driving down the road and literally have to stop the car because I couldn't handle it anymore.
Wow.
And I didn't know why.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like anything was wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing was physically wrong with me. It had to be mental, but I didn't, there is no diagnosis for what's wrong.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor, and it was my general physician, in which I sat down just like I'm sitting down with you. And I said, I don't feel very well. Mm-hmm. And no other way to say it, but something's not right. I'm not the same person as I once was, and I don't know why. Mm-hmm. And this doctor had not a good bedside manner.
Oh, Lord.
And he said, well, are you depressed or are you anxious? They're asking me about Brooke, right? So Brooke's not a crier.
Yeah.
I'm not an emotional person.
Yeah.
There are many women who just get emotional about everything.
I'm a crybaby.
Okay, well, I mean, you know if you are, you're not.
I cry.
I knew I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a crier. Not that that's good. Not that that's bad. It's probably more bad than it is good
because you're not releasing it. You're holding it in.
You hold all those emotions inside of you.
Yeah.
So when he said that, and I had not cried since my daddy had passed.
Yeah. You didn't cry when he passed?
I didn't cry when he passed. I felt relief because he was no longer suffering. I had seen that for so long that I did not want to see it anymore.
Yeah, I can relate
and
to
was
that.
actually, and what
Tucker's fine.
Was actually relieved to see that he was not suffering anymore.
Yeah.
But when the doctor said that to me, I lost it.
You cried.
And I cried. And I didn't just cry. I cried to where everybody in the doctor's office came into that room to see what was wrong with this girl.
Oh.
So finally I gained my composure, and he wrote me a bunch of prescriptions.
Yep.
And I went home, and I became a zombie.
Oh, man.
I took my medicine, and I was out of sorts.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was wrong with me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know whether to take the medicine or not take the medicine.
Uh-huh.
I had to keep my wits about me because here I had my husband to take care of. I had my mama to take care of.
Yep.
And I needed to get myself together, and I needed to do it fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, working a full-time job, Jason and I didn't have any dependents, of course, and we decided that the best thing for me to do would be to quit my job.
Yeah.
In which I did. And so we lived in a little house in town at the time, and I quit my job, and I started staying at home. I spent a lot of time with my mom. I spent a lot of time doing yard work and things that I enjoy doing to keep my mind occupied.
Yep.
And in the meantime, my mom had thought of something that she had not thought of in the past, and that was a grievance counselor that she had met with while she was at some appointments and hospitalizations with my dad at UAB, and that's the University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Yeah.
So she said, let me do some research and see if I can't find this lady's contact. Well, she did, and she come to find out the lady was not employed at the hospital anymore.
Yeah.
But she was seeing people in her home. So the lady was nice enough to say, I will talk to her in my home, and y'all are welcome to come to Birmingham, in which we did.
It's probably better for you that she was doing it in her house,
It probably was, because I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I did not think a grievance counselor was going to help.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was grieving over the loss of my dad. I just didn't feel myself.
Yeah.
So, we set up a time that was convenient for her, and my mother and I went to Birmingham, and we sat down with her, and I cried.
Yeah.
And she told me that basically, because my dad died at 49 years old of cancer, I wasn't fixing to die. And I thought to myself, well, I don't feel like I'm fixing to die.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's what's wrong with me. But saying something as simple as that, and making me realize that just because he passed away didn't mean that my world was going to end early. And that wasn't, I couldn't tell you that was what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
But
Do you think that is what was wrong with you?
I don't know. I really, to this day, I don't know.
Huh.
But she did say some other things that hit home, but that's number one that I can remember is just because your daddy died doesn't mean that you're going to die. Because at this point, I had started throwing up. Every time I ate, I threw up. And it was just crazy symptoms that I'd never experienced before. So she's thinking that I had a lot of anxiety built up. And that the thing to do might be to get off of all the medication that the doctor put me on and try to get on something mild that would get me out of that mellow state that I was in. Yeah. And maintain a normalcy versus being medicated. Yeah. And so that's what I did. She was able to make a referral to my doctor to give me a medication because she wasn't a doctor. She was a grievance counselor. Yeah. So she made a recommendation to that doctor to prescribe an antidepressant, in which I am still on today. I'm not ashamed of it because I was to a point in my life where I couldn't live without it. I got off everything that was making me comatose and not function daily, and I started taking that, and lo and behold, I started getting better. I started getting better.
I don't know why it is, but I think for us as women, it's like hard to give yourself permission to get healing or to take a medication if you need to take a medication. No, I can't take that because I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be able to get through this without medication. For some reason, it's hard for us to give ourselves permission to take the time that we need, to go to the doctor if we need, for healing, for whatever it may be, just to take care of ourselves because, like you said, we're caregivers.
We're supposed to be
everybody else.
That's right. Don't take time for yourself.
Don't take time for yourself.
Going into the whole situation, I had told myself I did not want to be on any medication. I'm 24 years old. I don't want to be dependent on a medication to make me be able to live my life. But I tell you, going and not settling on the first person that told me, yes, you have a problem. Are you anxious or are you depressed? And medicate me so that I couldn't function. That was the best decision I could ever make, was not settle for that.
Yeah.
And go on and realize that there was help in other ways than a pill that would make me not myself. Yeah. So while it's hard to reach out and say, I need help, and especially as a 24-year-old, that's life has just begun, to say something's not right, it was hard. It was very hard.
Oh, I'm sure.
To make myself dependent on something to make me myself again, that was hard. Yeah. But I was at a point to where I said, either I'm going to try something or I'm going to not, I'm not going to be here. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say that, but I didn't know where I was going. Yeah. I didn't know what my future held because I knew I couldn't work. I just couldn't work. Yeah. So while I did not go back to work, I did become the wife that I wanted to be. Yeah. And I became the, mother to my mother that I needed to be. Yeah. For lack of other way to say it, that's the way it was.
She needed you.
She needed me, and I needed her.
Yeah.
So I began cooking meals every day and enjoying to cook, enjoying, yard work that I once had previously loved, and made myself busy. Yeah. I made myself not sit down. I was not ever a TV watcher, so sitting down and being still wasn't on my list of things to do. But I kept myself busy, and Jason was happy to have his wife back. Yeah. He didn't know what to think, Yeah. So.
And a newly married couple.
Oh, goodness.
That'd be pretty tough.
As if that wasn't hard enough. Just being in a whole different element for him and me. Yeah. And then he saw his wife take a turn for not being the person that I was when he married me. Yeah.
It's hard enough to learn how to live together when you...
I know!
when you know who they are, but then when you get somebody you don't know where they come from.
He was like, I didn't sign up for this, Where'd she go? But I gradually got back to where I wanted to be, and I'm happy to say that I'm sitting in front of a camera today doing things that I enjoy and I love, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Making sure that you're taken care of needs to be a priority.
It does. It definitely does, because if we don't take care of ourselves,
if we're not
we can't take care of anybody else. We cannot. Like, I've been like dealing with that myself a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as health wise and time, just time to meditate, to pray, to exercise, to eat, to focus on eating healthy instead of always being in a hurry and just grabbing a bar and out the door. We got to take care of ourselves, because we got a lot of people depending on us.
Your family is dependent on the wife, the mother, the woman, to do everything, whether you know it or not.
Yeah,
that's
true.
I tell Mary Carl all the time. I said, a woman's role is very important.
Very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she'll be in her future. None of us do. Mm-hmm. But I want her to be prepared for whatever comes her way.
Yeah.
We're never prepared, but we can be told.
Whatever door of opportunity
That's
is
right.
open for
That's
her.
right.
So on that same realm there, so we wear many hats.
Yes.
And many different boots.
That's right. I love my boots.
I love my boots.
I love my boots.
I got probably 10, 15 different pairs of boots, and I love every one of them.
Well, when I wake up and I go to put my boots on, I love that I have to make a decision of what I'm going to wear today.
I know it. And it's got to go with my boots.
That's right. Is it rain? Is it shine? Is it sleet? Is it snow?
Yeah.
Boots for all.
That's funny.
Hats for all, too.
Hats for all. So we wear many hats and many boots.
That's right.
So what hats does Brooke put on every day? What do you wear every day? Who are you every day?
Brooke is a wife, a mother, a farmer, a teacher, a caretaker for my mother, a caretaker for animals, and I don't know, what else can you think of?
Well, you said teacher, so you homeschool Mary Carl.
I do. I homeschool Mary Carl.
Homeschool Mary Carl. You're a homemaker.
I'm a homemaker.
Did you say that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
Homemaker.
I'm a homemaker.
You prepare meals. You're making a beautiful home and space for your family.
And that brings me back to the point of the mother or the wife or the lady's role. You asked me what hats do I wear. My first thing that I do every morning when we wake up is we take care of animals. And animals have to be fed. They can't feed themselves. They have to be watered.
It don't matter if you're sick.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you feel. You are the mother to all things feathered and furry.
Yeah.
As well as two-legged. And, they need their meal just like the feathered family does as well. So,
that's right.
The second hat that I wear, I would say, after taking care of that is preparing food.
Yeah.
Everybody here's got to eat.
Everybody's got to eat. If you just really think about it, most of our life is centered around
food. Centered around food.
Centered around making money to buy food.
That's right.
Or growing food.
That is exactly
or
right.
Preserving food.
Yes.
Cooking food, preparing food, planning meals, grocery shopping.
Yes.
Everything is centered around food.
Around this right here.
I know, right?
It is.
It is. And then our meals, that's when my kids were growing up and at home with me, that was our favorite times because that was our time together. And I always made sure we had dinner no matter what in the world was going on.
That's right.
We had a nice dinner. It wasn't something from a box or a hot dog or a chicken finger. Sometimes it was.
Right.
But we had a good meal, and it was a sit down at the table, and we had conversation.
And we
even if you don't want to talk,
we're going to sit down.
I'm going to ask you 1,000 questions until you start talking to me. We're going to have a conversation.
We did that in my home growing up. My mom worked a full-time job. My dad worked a full-time job, but she cooked every day.
Yeah.
And every day, at the end of the day, we sat down as a family at that table, and it was just the three of us. As I mentioned, I was the only child. No matter what we were doing, we sat down at the table
and had a meal,
and we talked about our day.
Conversation.
And we were a family.
Yeah.
And I have carried that on to my family.
Yeah, it's important. And that is centered around food.
That's exactly right.
So everything is just seems to be centered around food.
So after I help feed the farm,
right.
Everybody has their own chores
yeah.
that we do here on the farm.
Yeah.
After I feed the farm, I come in and I hear, y'all ready for breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
Or what we're going to eat today? Or
mm-hmm.
I'm hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Or it boils down to needing to feed your family. So,
yeah.
I fix breakfast
mm-hmm.
and we eat as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And then on to homeschool.
Yeah. On
to homeschools, because you don't want to homeschool hungry.
No.
Fun is that.
There's no focus.
But we
no
don't,
focus.
Saying homeschool, we don't have a schedule.
Yeah.
If we don't feel well
uh-huh.
and we don't get started till lunchtime, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there is no schedule, and that's the beauty of homeschool.
Yeah.
I, growing up, would not have wanted to be homeschooled. It just wasn't me. I wanted to be active.
Yeah.
I played a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine life without school.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say she doesn't go to school because she's homeschooled, but I just couldn't imagine not getting up and going to school every day.
Me either.
Mary Carl's a different child than I was growing up in that aspect. She's more crafty. She's more artsy. She's more hands-on. She learns from doing things, from experiences, rather than wanting to go to school.
Yeah.
She has no care about sports. So we decided to homeschool when she was in the 4th grade at the end of the year, and we all know what happened in that year. It was the year that the great pandemic happened. We ended school that year in March, which was spring break.
Yeah.
Went home and did school virtually.
Yeah.
She had wanted to homeschool for years. I did not know myself. I did not look at myself as a teacher, although all mothers are teachers.
Yeah.
When your child's born, you're a teacher.
You're a teacher. That's right.
So I didn't know if I could teach my own child. How about that? We went virtual. I saw that I could do it. I agreed to do it for her 5th grade year and see how it worked out. So we did, and it worked out wonderfully. Yeah. I learned that the leniency of your schedule and the time that you can do things is so spectacular. It's not for everybody, but for our family it worked out perfectly because there again I only have one. I had to homeschool several. I don't know, it may have been a totally different situation, but us having the small farm that we had in Valley Grande at the time, it was wonderful because it enabled her to help on the farm, to spread her learning for what she loved at home. So we started that homeschooling, 4th grade, end of the year, and here we are. She is 12 years old and in 7th grade, and I'm still homeschooling.
Wow.
So we do homeschool after breakfast. Yeah. We went through several changes trying to find the correct curriculum. Yeah. That'll continue to probably change as she matures. Right. But I teach everything but math. Jason does the math. So we do that, and it just, like I said, it revolves around our schedule. We might do one subject, we might have lunch, we might do another subject and go outside and do something different. Yeah. It's just, it depends on what we have going on. Right. So that's the second hat I wear. The third hat that I wear is I have started my own YouTube channel. Yeah. There were several.
That's very cool.
There were several instances over the past year where Jason was ill, and that is the way that we make a living, is by making videos. Yeah. And so he wasn't able to document anything that was happening on the farm, so I stepped up and I filled those shoes.
You grabbed the camera.
I did. I didn't feel real comfortable about it.
You did a good job.
Well, thank you. But people such as you came in and told me that they enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. I loved it.
So after hearing that several times and filling in a couple of times when he went on trips and things, I thought, hey, this is too easy not to do.
I can do
because it's my life that I do anyway. I'm just carrying a camera.
Just carrying a camera.
And if I can make somebody smile, that's what I'm out to do.
Yep.
So if somebody enjoys, watching what I do, then I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And Mary Carl's even joined in.
And I like seeing it from your perspective.
Well, and
even though Jason, I
know.
love watching Jason.
I know.
But, and even though you're on the videos with him and you're a part of the video and y'all are together as a family, I like seeing the farm and what you're doing from your perspective as a lady farmer or homesteader.
And I when I thought about starting the channel, that was one of the things that I kept in mind, is that when I read through the comments, when I did do the recording and do the videos, Tucker sees herself, then I realized that people wanted to see the side that they didn't get to see. And Jason is not the only farmer here. I take care of things, Mary Carl takes care of things, and people, if it's a side of things that people don't get to see. So I tried to tell people when we were announcing and talking about it that this is not going to be the same repeated thing that you see on CogHill Farm. This is Mrs. CogHill Farm. This is a side that you wouldn't see ordinarily. These are not videos that have him in it and we just change the channel name. This is what I do. This is us.
Your perspective.
This is the ladies. And I say us because Mary Carl is involved in it.
Mary Carl is a good little, I was going to say future farmer, but she's a farmer now.
Well, her knowledge of birds is very extensive.
It is.
Yes, she's my child, but I knew that there was something
super smart.
Something a little different about her when she was probably 4 or 5 years old, and she has a North American bird book, and she's sitting down and she's looking at the pictures and trying to read, and then we're riding down the road and she starts naming
the birds.
She's just different. She's different. Her love for birds is something that, well, I won't say that I don't have, because I love birds. Her knowledge and her willingness to learn,
passion to learn about them.
Her passion is there. I mean, it exceeds my expectations, and she teaches me something new every single
She's amazing.
day.
She was just giving me a tour of her aviary over here.
Yes.
And like you said, when I'm talking about gardening, I light up.
Yes.
When she's talking about birds,
her
whole face becomes a glow, and she smiles from ear to ear, and she's just so happy to talk about them, and the passion, and it's very cool to see young people
passionate about something.
See how big his chest is?
Oh, look at him puffed up.
It's like air. It's just air.
Oh, wow. That is so weird. Does he stay like that?
Well, he can control it when he wants to
Oh.
unpuff. He does. He unpuffs. And it's just air, and they suck it in, and they release it when they get ready.
What makes him puff up? Because he's mad, or because he's just because he wants to puff up?
But it's only the powders. The other ones are rollers in here.
Because he's pouting, I guess. He puffs up. Wow. This is so neat.
Pigeons are good, like, little ornamental birds, I guess you would say.
Uh-huh.
But they breed so fast. These are all this year's babies.
Wow. Really? So who built this aviary? All three of you work on it together?
Yep. On the powder.
Okay.
They don't go far. They just go back on their lawn.
Where did it go? Where'd it
Right
go?
over here on the roof.
Oh. I missed.
The other ones, I mean, they'll, in the morning time, they fly around because it's cool.
Yeah.
But when it's hot,
They come
just
back.
stick right there.
So do you leave the door open for it?
That little trap door. It swings open, but it doesn't come back out.
Look at there. A trap door so it can get back home.
Yep. And it's open, but it can't swing shut.
Cool.
Like they can't get out from outside.
So who designed this? Like, did you research it and design it, or
Kind of both.
kind of both, you and your mom and dad?
Yep. I want to make a little box. Similar, just like a little aviary box on the back.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets hot in here.
Yeah.
In the daytime, just like a little box where they can come outside and fly around.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't let those other ones in there because if I wanted to catch one, it'd be impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they get all kinds of things wrong with them, and I gotta catch them and all.
Oh, really?
Like strings on their feet and stuff like
Oh, yeah, I bet. I
that.
bet.
You know, like when a chicken has something on their foot or something, you can't catch them. And since they're on the ground, it's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard.
It's easier than a pigeon because you gotta net them and try to catch them. These cannot figure out how they, like, the other pigeons, they think that they just float on the top. Because they're just sitting there. And they don't realize it. So they kind of think they can go out, but these aren't allowed to go out.
Okay, I gotcha.
They had never been trained. When they're a baby, I have to teach them how to go in the trap door.
And these are called Victorian what?
Crown pigeons. Victorian crown pigeons.
Mm-hmm. And these are the two, this is the reason why you built this, right? Was for them, pretty much?
And then those two white ones, I had them inside for a long time.
Yeah.
That one on the top of the tree,
Uh-huh.
she hurt her leg one time and her toes had to come off.
Oh, Lord.
So she's only got one foot.
Wow.
That's Hazel, a hand-raised Hazel, and that little red one on the tree.
And she's pretty, isn't she?
Yeah.
I love her eyes.
I have the powders, the rollers, and then the homers. They all fly.
Okay.
Right now, the other homers are in the loft because they're having eggs.
Wow. This turned out really cool.
I honestly didn't think it would be this cool.
You didn't?
No.
It's better than what you had envisioned? Well, I think it looks really, really good. Y'all did an excellent job. I know you're proud of it.
Thank you. And I've got pigeons in the back, the other pigeons.
Oh.
Thank you.
Now, who is this?
This Shadow.
Oh.
They're like little peacocks.
So pretty, huh?
And you see his tail, it just sits up like that.
Yes, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's pretty cool how they do that.
Very cool.
And then he's got the shiny neck.
Uh-huh.
I think he's pretty old because you see how wide his nose is.
Yeah.
I've got like maybe 10 other fantails.
Mm-hmm.
I've got archangels, and they kind of look similar to a regular pigeon, except they're black.
Yeah.
Got orange wings. And
Cool.
then they've got like a little crest like him.
Very cool. He's pretty.
They are pretty. He's molting. He's usually not so spiky.
You're definitely a bird whisperer. So, Mary Carl, what do you think made you so interested in birds? Like, what do you think?
I honestly do not know.
You don't know?
Not one idea.
I think it started out with chickens, and then it just kind of,
probably Penny.
yeah, probably Penny.
She's
Yeah.
special.
Penny was her first pet bird, a chicken. Yeah.
How about that? And so you just got interested and you just started researching and learning all you could learn, huh?
Yeah. Probably.
Cool. Cool.
I don't know where the love comes from, but
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad it's there.
Thankful it's there.
I'm thankful it's there.
She is a unique, extraordinary young lady.
She is. I mean,
she really is.
I mean, she's our child, and like I said, I don't want to brag and carry on, but it's an ability that I just don't have.
You can brag.
Oh,
You can brag on you, child.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so what happens after homeschool?
After homeschool, okay, so I just don't sit down. I'm
Yeah.
just not one to sit down.
Yeah.
We are always busy here on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I kind of feel like that's one thing that encouraged us to buy 40 acres.
Yeah.
We previously had a small farm that was on 7.5 acres. However, of that 7.5 acres, we probably farmed 1.5 acres.
Yeah.
So 40 acres is quite a transformation.
Quite a jump. Yep.
Quite a transformation because
Yeah.
About 20 of that is pasture and green grass, whereas the other 20 is woods. So let's just say that we work that 20 acres.
Yeah.
We finish homeschool. There is always something that needs to be done.
Always something that needs to be done.
I don't frown on that. I look at that like, thank goodness there's always something to be done. I have to stay busy. We outgrew the 7.5 acres so much so that there was nowhere else to build anything. There was no more animals that we could add because there was no space for fencing.
Yeah.
And so with Mary Carl being homeschooled and Jason's YouTube channel being successful, which allowed him to stay at home and be a full-time creator, we were able to make that move and purchase, you know, the 40 acres in which we farmed 20 of it. And I don't have a dull moment. Yeah. I don't have that day where I sit down and I say, I
bored.
I want to go shopping.
Yeah.
Because farming is my love and it's my life and it's always something that needs to be done. So
and you enjoy it.
I enjoy it. Yeah. So when we finish homeschool, the fun starts.
Yeah.
The fun starts. I don't necessarily enjoy being a teacher. I do it because it has to be done. Yeah. And
it's what's best for your child.
It's best for my child in my situation. And so, therefore, I head out the front door and I start working on shoveling chicken poop. I start working on, you know, things that I didn't do in the morning chores. Yeah. I do the feeding and the watering early on, but later in the afternoon, there's still things that have to be done. Yeah. There's always hay that needs to be filled up, or you know, feed that needs to be bought and purchased and put up, and it's never ending. It's never ending. So I just take it day by day, and whatever needs to be done at that time, I take care of it. Yeah. If Jason's busy weed eating, then I might be on the bush hog on the tractor. Well, a lot of people don't know what a bush hog is, but a bush hog is a brush cutter that cuts grass, or cutting grass with a lawnmower.
Would you say that's one of your favorite jobs on the farm?
Well, I don't necessarily think that cutting grass is my favorite, but riding and using the tractor is my favorite. So anything that has to do with the tractor would be my favorite thing. We were fortunate enough to, when we lived at our old little farm, Jason's dad had I believe it was a 60s model John Deere tractor. Oh, wow. And it was yellow. Yeah. Because it was used as a roadway tractor for the state.
A yellow John Deere.
A yellow John Deere. And Jason's dad gave me a few lessons about how to run it. And so that's where my love from tractors came from. Yeah. It was, Jason worked a full-time job, and here I was at home, and things needed to be done, such as driveway being scraped and house pad needed to be built, and you know, trees needed to be moved. And so I learned how to hook a chain up to a tractor and pull a log where it needed to go. And
you got on it and learned how to do it and did it.
I did, and hook implements up, and I didn't have a bucket at the time, but I learned how to use the box blade pretty well.
How about that?
So that's where my love for tractors came in. I'd never drove one in my life until we built our house, which was our old farm.
That is so cool.
So yes, that's my favorite thing to do. If I have tractor work to be done. Matter of fact, you and I were just looking back there, talking about terrace, and you probably saw me light up.
I did see you. I was just fixing to say, when you talk about tractor work, Brooke lights up.
I look like Mary Carl talking about birds.
That's it. She lights up big time.
So I'm telling Tracy, I'm like, do you think I can just get my bucket and scrape along this area? That's what I like to do. Yep. I don't know why. It's just
and you can see it.
It's my love. It's my comfort. It's my where I want to be.
Your peace.
Yeah,
you enjoy. You're peaceful when you get on it.
You know how you like to garden.
That's the way Gene is.
I like to tractor. I don't know what that's
what
called.
He says. When things get chaotic and stressful, he says, I'm going to get on the tractor for a while.
Yep.
And he'll ride till way past dark with his headlights on there. And I'm just going to leave him alone and let him enjoy his quiet time out there.
I noticed that my fuel gauge was getting down to about a quarter of a tank. And Jason and I had to go to town. And I said, grab that gas can. Because I certainly don't want to be without gas in the tractor.
Can't be out without gas in the tractor.
Can't be without gas in the tractor.
I think when you're find what you're passionate about, that seems to be like the biggest, hardest struggle.
You're right.
In your life is to find what you're passionate about, to find your purpose, you know.
I feel the same way.
But when you do, like when that clicks and you're like, okay, this is what I'm passionate about, so this is what my purpose is.
And I think there's so many people that are so scared to follow through with what they're passionate about. And probably the leading reason is money. Because everybody knows that you have to have money in order to live.
Yeah, you do.
But you can do that in a way that makes you happy. There's so many times when people are too scared to make a change or to take that jump. And Jason and I have said many times throughout our journey of change that we are going to live our lives doing what makes us happy.
What makes you happy, enjoy it. And
our number one priority is to tell our daughter and teach our daughter to follow through with what makes you happy. If you follow something that you love to do, money will come.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. Money's gonna come.
Money will come. Because you'll be passionate about it.
You'll be comfortable, you'll be passionate.
And you'll be good at
it. You'll be good at it.
Enjoy it.
I realize there's situations where you can't take that leap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But if anybody is in that situation where you can make a change, it should be done because life's too short.
It is.
Life is too short.
Let's talk about for a minute, because this is, of all the hats that I wear, this is my struggle. Is I've never been really good at balance. Like I've always been all or nothing. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever I'm doing, it's going to get 100% excellence, or I don't want to touch it. Right.
Right.
So we got a lot of different hats or boots to wear, and managing it all and balancing it all is one of my major struggles. Because right now I feel like I've got so many different things going on, and nothing is good. It's surviving, or it's mediocre. Yes. But it's not.
It's not where you want it.
It's not where I want it. So I'm trying to get that in place. How do you manage everything? How different people do things different ways.
Right.
So how are you?
Of all people to be giving me advice, Mary Carl has been the best at giving me advice.
How about that?
She's 12 years old.
Mouth
and
of babes.
I can't tell you the countless times that she has told me, Mama, don't worry about it. Mama, just settle down. It's going to take care of itself. Or slow down and don't worry so much.
Yeah. Don't
worry about things you can't control.
Yeah.
And I just think from the mouth of a 12-year-old, I should have listened, to you a long time ago because there are days when I wake up and I think to myself, how in the world am I going to get everything done that needs to get done?
Yeah, it's impossible.
I just take her advice, and I realize that everything can't be done at one time. We have to sort through, and we have to figure out our priorities, and we have to figure out which thing is most important and which needs to be done first. And after you get that figured out, then you just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
You just have to sit back and you have to look at the whole picture, and you have to realize that things will get done. It may not happen in a day. It may not happen in a week, but don't quit. Continue to work on what you've started on. Don't jump around. Realize that mouths have to be fed. Some things can wait.
Yeah.
And what order it needs to be done in.
Right.
And I think once you figure that out, then the rest falls into place. Try not to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Let Mary Carl tell you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Calm down.
Just calm down and don't
calm
worry
down,
about it.
Mama. You'll get it all done. You'll get it all done. So, if there's any advice that came from that, it's just take it one day at a time, and don't
maybe
quit.
one task at a time.
One task
at a time.
Don't quit. Maybe keep that oldest project in the front Continue to work on it until you complete it before you start another one.
Yeah.
And we have to constantly tell ourselves that here.
Yeah. So, Brooke, like I said earlier, we've got a lot of people out here, and I know because they've reached out to me, that they have a dream of this life.
Yes.
They have a dream of a farm, a homestead, maybe a YouTube channel.
Right.
They have a dream of living this life that you're living.
Yes.
And, you know, it wasn't given to you.
No.
Y'all worked hard to get here.
We did.
And so what would your advice be to that person that's sitting out there watching this, dreaming for this, drooling over chicken coops and garden sheds, and barns and cows and chickens, but it looks absolutely impossible that they're ever going to be able to have it? What would you say to them to encourage them?
My biggest advice to anybody, whether it be YouTube, anything, is don't give up. Don't quit. If it's something that you want to happen, it will happen.
Yeah.
If you live in an apartment, that doesn't rule out the possibility of growing a garden. It may not be an elaborate 20-acre garden.
Right.
You may not need a tractor to till it.
Right.
But that still doesn't eliminate the opportunity to have a garden and grow your own. I do encourage people that if you want to grow a garden, Tracy has a link to GreenStalk planters.
Yeah.
That's a great tool for somebody that has a small space and wants to grow a small garden. There are lots of vegetables that can be grown in the GreenStalk.
Herbs, fruit.
From herbs to fruit to vegetables. There's multiple things. Don't go through life not planting that garden. Even if it's in a GreenStalk planter, it's a garden.
Yeah.
Don't go through life not having chickens. If you live in an area that'll allow you a few hens, get you a little tiny coop and put it in your backyard and get you a couple of hens and sit out there with them. You'll see the relaxation in no time as to realize that.
Oh, I know.
It's just enjoyable. Do things that make you happy. Look at other ways to make things happen. Maybe you don't have chickens and you dream of having chickens, but maybe you could reach out to someone in your area that does have chickens. Maybe you could visit their farm. Maybe you could satisfy your need for having a chicken coop if you live in an area where you can't have one, by taking care of someone else's chickens for them.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that need care for their animals when they go out of town.
Yeah.
And you may not be able to fulfill that with your own, but you can go and you can take care of someone else's.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is if it's something that you love and it's something you want to pursue, your dream, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Do what you can where you're at.
Do what you can.
I would add
where
that
you're
to
at.
it too. Do what you can where you're at. And like Brooke's saying, if there's no space to garden, find your local community garden.
Exactly. And
go get you a plot in the community garden. Work it.
That's just
take
like
care of people's animals.
Take care of people's animals. If you can't have your own chickens, don't let that be your end. Take care of somebody else's chickens.
Yeah.
See it in a different way than I can't do that, because you can do that. It just may not be in the way that you envision initially.
Yeah.
There's no stop sign. That road keeps going.
Yeah. And when you're doing that and you're taking that step, you're learning what you need to know for your dream
future
coming true. Yeah.
So maybe one day you may be in a different position where you can grow your own garden or have your own tractor or have a chicken coop.
Yeah.
Its possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
But don't give up. Look at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Just
don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up.
Keep dreaming.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on dreaming.
Yes. That's right.
Okay, Brooke, thank you so much
for
spending time with me today. I know you're busy.
Well, I love to talk. So I guess aside from tractors, talking's my second favorite thing to do.
Talking.
And
you know what? Maybe you should be doing a talk show. Maybe your channel should be doing a talk show.
You reckon?
Maybe.
Well, I tell you, after going through my challenges that I went through where I didn't want to talk to anybody, I never thought I'd be back in the position where I felt comfortable to sit here and talk.
Yeah.
And that was years and years ago.
Yeah.
But not giving up, not quitting,
yeah,
not selling out.
Yeah.
To, just be something that I wasn't gonna be.
Right.
Brought me to where I am today.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I hope it inspires somebody else to
believe
follow
it's
their
going
dream.
to. I believe
to
it's
follow
going.
their dream.
I believe there's a lot of people out here who needed to hear what you had to say today.
Well, I hope so, because it's not.
Think so.
It doesn't make me comfortable to sit and tell a story that something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to tell the wrongs. Everybody wants to tell the rights. But I hope by telling somebody my wrongs will help you get right.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. Do what makes you happy, and don't settle.
Don't settle.
Don't
settle.
give
up.
Don't give up.
Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Keep dreaming.
That's right.
All right, Brooke. I'll see you on the next.
All right,
round.
Tracy.
Either watching your video or
being on my talk show.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe so.
All right, Tracy.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.